Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're building something straight out of a cyberpunk dashboard, a futuristic to-do list that works 100% offline using just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. No frameworks, no servers, just pure front-end magic. And the best part is we'll do it in under 10 minutes. Actually, it's already done. No fluff, let's vibe and code. So here is what we're making, or what we already made. A sleek, glowing cyberthink to-do list that stores your task even when you close the browser. Perfect for productivity and showing off your coding skills. So features, you can add and delete tasks. Let me get my mouse over here. So you can add and delete tasks. So go to grocery store, add task. All right, so you see the task is there. We can remove it. You can save everything to local storage. It's a stylish UI with glowing neon effects, all in one. This is all in one HTML file. So we'll um, scroll down here. So this is all just in one single HTML file. This is called inline. Um, So this is just one of the ways that you can actually set up your when you're building just plain HTML, JavaScript, CSS websites. Inline is one way you can build them. Another way is you can build them more modular by separating out your style sheet and your JavaScript code into a separate .js file. Now the skill level for this is going to be very beginner friendly. So first off, if you want to follow along, I'm going to drop a link to the full code in the description. So what you guys can do is, you guys can build your own versions of this and add whatever you guys want to add to it, and let me know in the comments, or drop links in the comments to your code pins or whatever you used to build. Codepin.io is a web-based IDE that you guys can use to build essentially any front end website or app using JavaScript, HTML, CSS. Now, anything going, beyond that, like React and stuff like that, you're going to need to actually, set up a project locally and, scaffold a React project or whatever you're building in, what have you. So the normal way. So, but this is a very quick way for you to kind of just experiment very quickly. Now, okay, so now you can follow along as well. And just type out the code here. I actually, let me see. For you guys who, let me see. So for you guys who like to just pause and type this out, I'll do this. We'll slowly go through here. Right, and I'll go through the code very slowly so you guys can have, like, you can pause where you need to. But like I said, all code will be included in the description. This is on my code pen, so I'll include the link down below. Just a little bit more here. All right, so that's the end of that. Let's get back up to the demo here. So this is just one file called index.html. So let's start with the HTML skeleton. So this sets up the structure for our app, a header, and input, a button, and an empty list. All right. This is our style sheet. We'll minimize this. All right, so as you can see, we have our H1. We have our input, where you can add a task, button. And then we have an empty list. All right. So you guys who, this is getting more into like the art of reading code, right? You guys need to learn, make sure you know how to properly read code so you can understand what's happening here. I feel like most newer engineers try to just jump in without having a full understanding. Well, if you can learn how to read what's happening here and understand, then it's very easy for you to, jump in and start coding and debugging once you have an understanding of, like, okay, I know what's going on when I look at this. That's like where you should be starting. So that was simple, right? Now, we make it look futuristic. So now let's actually show the CSS. So open up the style tag here. And you see, just in our very first body here, we have a font called Orbitron to give it that sci-fi HUD feel. You can add this font using Google Fonts. I'll include the link to the font in below. Then we sprinkle some neon glow shadows, and voila, it's ready to beam you into the future. And we do that with the background here. Use radial gradient, ellipse at center, and some fun colors. Let's see. Now we power it up with JavaScript, right? So And then we have styling, of course, for our button, our list, things of that nature. So let me go back. So now that we look at our JavaScript code here, it's not much. So script tag. All right. So we're going to hook up well, it's already hooked up, but we hooked up the input, the button, and the handle of saving / removing task from local storage, right? And so we create a list, create our input. We're just targeting elements from the actual HTML. Then we create a variable to store the to-dos list. Let's see. Then a function to actually render the to-do list. So this function is going to list.inner HTML. So it's going to set our list to equals an empty string. So set our list to be empty. Then we start a for loop to essentially build a to-do list and create a new list element right here. And then we append the actual to-do item to the list, and then we also include a button with it so we can delete it. And then we append that item to the list. So what's happened? So all of that. So when we actually go here, and let's say we do go to store. So we type that in. Now when we push add task, this is going to run render to dos, or it's going to run save to dos. And it's also going to run this render to dos so it can actually populate this. So when we actually click add task, it's going to do this first. Then it's going to run this loop and create this element, which is this right here. And then it's going to populate it with the actual to do item and then the close button. So that's these lines right here. And then this is the line to actually add it and make it show up here. And this is the function to add the to-dos. So on load, we're going to render to-dos, and then once we actually click add task, this is going to add the to-do item to the to-do list. This is just going to render the to-do list. So I had that mixed up a little bit. So this is the function that's actually adding the item to the task list. So we're creating a variable for our text, and then we're just trimming our input value using these built-in methods on the input. Then we add a conditional here. So if the text is empty, we're going to return. That's just checking to make sure that we actually have something that we're putting into the list. Then we're going to push the item to the to-do list. Then we're going to save to-dos. Then we're going to render to-do. So we're going to render the to-do list again. So even inside of this add to-do function, this is all happening at the very end. Then we're setting the input value to empty again, so this is making this blank. Ooh, so that's a mouthful. But if you can learn to read this and that was all just me, just going through and just reading the code. I don't have anything up, as far as an explanation or anything. And you want to be able, at the very least, even in the AI-driven economy, you want to be able to do this. You want to be able to come here and be able to go through and say, okay, that's doing that. Okay, this is doing this. Okay, boom, we're saving the to-dos. Okay, that's a function. This is a function. Okay, boom, one of these being called. You need to be able to go in here and understand what's happening, especially not so much with the HTML and the CSS, more so with the JavaScript, because that's where the logic is, right? That's where a lot of the stuff that's kind of harder to understand is going to lie with building HTML, JS, and CSS websites. These are the most basic types of websites you can start building. So this is the easy stuff, I want to say. So anyway, so every time you add a task, we save it to local storage, so it sticks around, even if you go offline or refresh the page. All right, so then we go on to removing task. I already showed you guys that, and when we see the function right here to remove task, same thing, to-dos, dot splice, index 1, save to-do. So we're just going to remove the task. And then, so there you have it, a beautifully fully offline capable futuristic to-do list, all packed into one HTML file. This is perfect if you're learning front end or want a slick portfolio piece. I'll leave the code down below so you guys can grab it. And yeah, so if you learned something new or had fun coding along, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next build. Drop a brain in the comments if you made it to the end. I'll know that you're a part of the Quantum Dev gang. And as always, keep coding.